Welcome to AI for Founders. I'm Ryan Estes. Today's guest is at the absolute tip of the spear when it comes to agentic AI. I'm talking about Alexander de Ritter, co-founder and CTO of SmithOS, the MIT licensed open source agent operating system that's already powering over 28,000 AI agents. Alexander has been building agent infrastructure since before AI agents was even a term. And his vision isn't just about automation. It's about creating an internet of agents, a living, breathing superorganism where humans and AI work together. We'll dig into the future of autonomy, control, and why agents might be the Clovis point moment in technology's evolution. And trust me, Alexander doesn't just code, he paints with code, blending artistry, philosophy, and humor into every project. This one's a masterclass in thinking bigger, so let's get into it. But first, some business. Founders, you already know podcast guesting works, but let me tell you why you should stop trying to figure it out alone. At Kitcaster, we've booked over 15,000 interviews for more than 800 founders, getting them in front of perfectly matched audiences who are ready to buy, invest, or collaborate. We handle the research, the pitching, the scheduling, even the prep, so you can focus on showing up, delivering your best. Whether you want to grow your brand, generate leads, or close high-ticket deals, Kitcaster puts you in the right conversation at the right time. Go to kitcaster.com and apply today. Let's make you the voice everyone's talking about. That's Kitcaster by Moburst. Now, you and I know startups aren't built in boardrooms. They're built in the wild, during 3 a.m. bug fixes, botched launches, and that one meeting where everything almost fell apart. That's what Code Story is all about. It's a podcast where tech founders break down the make or break moments behind their products, what went wrong, what went right, and what nearly wrecked everything. Hosted by Noah Labhart, Code Story goes past the highlight reel and into the honest stuff. Late pivots, brutal bugs, and somehow coming out alive with a product people actually love. If you're in the build stage, or the scale stage, or the please let this feature work stage, I can relate. This show will speak to your soul. Listen to Code Story at codestory.co or wherever you get your podcast. Just search Code Story, it'll be right at the top. Because great startups aren't born, they're forged, one hard moment at a time. codestory.co. Okay. Alexander, how are you? Thanks for coming on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
We've got an exclusive, I think, right now on Alexander, ladies and gentlemen. I have it on primary sources that Alexander has exquisite handwriting, particularly in cursive.
Cursive, cursor, who's keeping track, right?
I love it. I love it. And appropriate, cursor. I'm really excited to talk to you. Sounds like you're really at the tip of the spear of agentic development. So give us a quick introduction to your company.
Yeah, so SmithOS, spelled with a Y, smithos.com is the agent operating system for everyone. We're MIT open source licensed. Everyone can build with SmithOS for free. It brings security. It brings separation of your secrets, your runtime, and your agent logic. It's easy to build, debug. We have a visual debugger. By the way, Agent Weaver lets you talk to SmithOS, and Agent Weaver will build the agent for you. How great is that? It's really everything you would want to build agents with. In production, secure. It is not an RPA retrofit, and it is not a RAG retrofit either. SmithOS from day one, more than 2 years ago, actually 2.5 years ago, we started building SmithOS for agents from day one with the kind of infrastructure that would withstand the hype and would actually deliver on the vision of where the future is going to go with agents.
Incredible. Now, the audience for this show is about 20,000, and they're all founders. And I think all of them have something in common, which is like, I know I need to be using agents and creating agentic support in different ways. What are some use cases that most business owners could use right now with SmithOS?
Yeah, so if you were to hire a VA and they join your company, you would have to onboard them, right? And you would say, do this weekly, do this, then go check this system, then talk to this person, then do that. And if you would just hire them and say, here's access to everything, do whatever you want, chances are they might mess stuff up. So this is the tension between autonomy and control. And so a lot of jobs, a lot of tasks in a company require intelligence of a human. You can't just give it to a calculator. And at the same time, you want to make sure they're onboarded properly. This is what agents can do for founders as well. Any process in your business that is currently requiring intelligence, but has a known step-by-step proper way of doing it, can be fully handed off to agents, and your business can scale incredibly. And where humans excel, and you still need humans, is in tasks that are different every time, right? You can't really write a good SOP for it because it's so different every single time you go about it. And we're moving quickly to a world where for every human in your team, there's going to be a bunch of AI agents supporting them in a team. Humans become more of managers and more product leads, right? That's what I tell my coders, my engineers. I say, just knowing Python is not good enough anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? Now you have to be able to think like a customer, think like a marketer, think like a product person. And if you can do that with good judgment, you can work really well. So what have we seen happen in companies? We've seen companies completely automate their backend support. We've seen with proper escalation to humans when needed. We've seen companies build incredible fintech solutions with APIs for the market and then AI models to interpret signals. We've seen marketing teams create teams of agents that can produce 2,000 articles a week with one human in the loop. Like, I've been doing content marketing for like over a decade, professionally at scale, enterprise scale. And I know what kind of teams I had to build for that kind of output in the past. We're in a new dawn. And if you are, I think everyone in your audience already knows what they want to automate. Everyone I talk to already knows exactly what they want to automate. They just struggle with the how. And a lot of companies are making great promises. And the first 5 steps work great, and you're ecstatic and elated. And then you want to move to production and it all falls apart and it breaks. And if that's you, then come check out SmithOS.
Heck yeah. And probably people are familiar with Zapier. Maybe somebody's dabbling around with N8N. Like, how is this differentiated? Like, what is your sweet spot?
Yeah, so let me talk about the very opposite of N8N and Zapier for a second, right? OpenAI's agents or operator. It takes over a computer for you and moves the mouse, it clicks on things. And every 2 seconds, it needs to interrupt you and say, Ryan, are you sure I can click on this?
Enter your password, Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah. Imagine hiring an assistant to come help you at your work. And every 2 seconds, she interrupts you in your work and say, hey, Ryan, can I click on this? Hey, Ryan, can you enter this? I mean, how long would she last? Not very long, right? This is not my idea of autonomy, right? Then the human becomes a bot nanny. But on the other hand, you have control, and full control is like Zapier and N8N, where you define every step. And if this happens, then do that. And it's very rigid and it's very controlled. And if everything works, it's great, right? But you build these long chains of conditionals. If this, then that, then that, then that, then that. And this long chain of conditionals, if one step in that chain fails for any reason, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
And so the reality is that we all want autonomy. We all want the AI to do things on their own, like our assistant. Um, but we want to do it in a safe way, in a controlled way. So the trick then is to not be at any of these two extremes, right? Not the brittleness of RPA, robotic process automation, but also kind of not the botman-ish thing of constantly having to supervise the assistant and what it's doing. And we need AI that actually can work in the background, heal itself, fix itself, learn, work autonomously, solve problems. If it reaches a stopper or something fails, it falls back to another way and only bugs a human when we really need to. And the issue, the fundamental issue with Zapier and N8N is that it's software 1.0. If this and that, with AI sprinkled on it, it was not built from the ground up for the agentic future. And I take some issue with what people actually call agents. Like OpenAI's agent is an actual agent. It's just not a very controlled, safe one. It constantly needs approval and interrupts you. Or it does things that you don't approve if you don't give it that supervision. And then on the other hand, you have like step-by-step robots. We've had RPA, by the way, for 15 years.
Yeah.
There is a reason why it didn't take over enterprise. Very big promises by UiPath, Automation Anywhere. IBM has a RPA solution for years, $10,000 per instance or something just to host one automation. But if RPA is so great, why hasn't it really like taken off and taken over the enterprise? It's because RPA is fundamentally flawed for complex work, because if one chain breaks, it all falls apart. And so you need better architectures. And the market does not have a runtime for agents. And from the very beginning, that's what we set out to build 2.5 years ago. Before my business partners even knew the word agent, I was in Mexico and had to explain it to them and their wives for 3 days. Try to find the vocabulary for something that nobody even like had awareness around. And that's why I'm at the tip of the spear, because we have been building agent infrastructure since before GPT-4 came out and gave us function calling. We had already fine-tuned GPT 3.5 function calling. So we were doing agents before it was even like a term that referenced the same thing.
Yeah, now agents kind of encompasses everything you're talking about. It's like if it's automation, it's an agent. Now it's getting a little bit murky. And I want to talk to you about the future of agentic support. But first, I want to bring it back a little bit because you talked about, the company's very, very young. It sounds like you came to the States in 2006 from Belgium and have had several successful exits. So I would love to know the formation of this idea before there's a category. Like you're kind of right on the front lines. What gave you the vision and kind of what sparked the next move? Because clearly a couple of exits, you're successful at whatever you're working on. You could go in a million different directions. Why SmithOS?
Yeah, so I'll skip all the early history. I came to the United States, did a bunch of wonderful startups, technologies, helped companies build their technology out. I did fractional CTO before the word fractional CTO existed. I did a lot of cool stuff, but in 2019, I launched something you would now call maybe a GPT wrapper, except it had its own semantic embeddings, its own patent, and it was truly differentiated and got results for internet marketing context. And we were essentially wiped away when ChatGPT got released, not because ChatGPT did better what we did, but because ChatGPT is a marvel of ease of use. And people didn't want to bother with something that took more work, even if the outcome was better. And it actually decimated all of our immediate competitors, had to either go out of business or pivot. But in the final stages of that product, we started understanding that repeatability was something, there was something to repeatability with AI. And you saw things happening in the market where you would have something like a prompt library or like reusable prompts and so forth. And this was before the GPT plugin store. You started seeing people like saving the top prompts, or GitHub repositories with all the best prompts and the different tools. So we had been building something at that company called a recipe builder. And the idea from a recipe builder was like you take steps, then step, then step, and each time with the prompt. So this is like what you call like a very basic proto agent. And when ChatGPT really made that marketing angle like really hard as a business to make it work, we were thinking about how we would pivot, and we really thought there was something to these recipe builders. But what distinguishes that from agents is tool calling. Everybody can chain together an AI model with a prompt to another AI model with a prompt to another AI model with a prompt. So it's easy to chain. And this is kind of where we were in like 2000, let's say 2022 or so. This is kind of where the state of the market was. But when all of a sudden you can call databases and you can call APIs and you can call different AI models, and later on computer control MCPs and all of that stuff, it's just a whole different world. And that just transformed that. And when we saw that AI models could do this, my pitch was something to my team was something like this. Human history goes something like this. They discovered fire, discovered the wheel, the printing press, the electricity, and the internet. Right? And so when an archaeologist goes and finds and digs up a bunch of skeletons and they find tools nearby, they get very excited. Why? Because tool use is the most human thing there is.
Yeah.
This is how, like, no other animal or creature uses tools the way that humans use tools, right? Steve Jobs famously said that humans are not remarkable, they're slower than other animals, but give them a bicycle and they're the fastest animal. And then he said the computer is a bicycle for the mind. So humans are tool users. And I don't think it's fully appreciated, Ryan, but sometime 2,000 years from now, archaeologists are going to dig up human fossils and they're going to figure out that that we were tool users, but they're also going to look at the evolutionary history of AI models. Yeah. And they're going to say 2023 is the year where the first AI fossils with evidence of tool use appeared. The history of humankind and AI kind is going to be the era when they were just spitting out text and language, and then the era when they discovered tools, and then the era when the tool use became more and more advanced, and then the era when they all start networking and collaborating and form entire swarms of agents. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw tool use, it was like a movie flashing before me. I live in the year 3000. I went to the year 3000. Everything's very similar, but they live underwater. No, that's just but the great grand AI daughter, she was pretty fine. She learned to use tools, and this is the era we're in right now. If you look at our architecture and what we've built with SmithOS, it is an operating system that lets AI use tools in a safe, controllable way, but also lets AI agents network together over these emerging protocols and create the Internet of Agents. We're going to really go to a place where you can have an agent business in a box, and a whole team of agents will do whatever it is that you can imagine for you.
It's incredible. I love this analogy too. You know, I'm thinking like, okay, 2023, we have the Clovis point. And the Clovis point was very important for, prehistorical humans because it radically helped their protein intake. And then you say flash forward a little bit, you have the Bronze Age, where they're smelting metals, and that it raises productivity to a whole other level. So when we're thinking in those terms, and we are in the Clovis point in 2023, what's the next stage as far as what we're going to be able to do with agents? Where is agents going in the near future, let's say the next 12 months?
So what's so important is that it we think of humans as pretty smart, but a vastly smarter entity, let's say God, would think of us as pretty dumb. And so the best way to sometimes look at ourselves, because we have so much ego, it's like, let's look at an ant. An ant. None of us think ants are particularly smart, right? We think of it as lesser than us. And so I can talk about ants without offending any humans. But look what ants are able to achieve when they collaborate. Army ants can build bridges. Ants are known to go to war. Ants are known to build super colonies that span entire continents. Ants harvest, they milk, they farm, they store, they nurture, they raise, they defend. They even are known to perform surgeries. Did you know that? I recently read that.
On each
Ants,
other?
ants will do surgeries on each other. If they have
Wow.
like infection on a leg somewhere, an ant can amputate the leg of an infected ant so that it will not spread in the colony. Ants are
Crazy.
surgeons.
Wow.
And yet, the individual intelligence of an ant, single intelligence of an ant, is very small. But by networking and collaborating, they can do phenomenal things as a society. And so, bear with me, okay? The single unit of intelligence of an AI model is vastly larger than that of an ant. When they become networked in the way that ants are, they become the Internet of Agents, which is a living, breathing superorganism. And to put that in perspective, the human body is a living, breathing superorganism of millions of cells working together. You are not just you, Ryan, the entity, but you are Ryan, the superorganism too. Millions of cells collaborating, working together. Then you are also Ryan in your village, Ryan in your town, Ryan in your city, Ryan in your province or state, Ryan in your country, Ryan, citizen of Earth, Ryan of the Milky Way solar system, Ryan of this galaxy, and the human civilization, right? We have expanded from individual families, towns, villages, provinces, states, empires, United Nations, eventually galactic civilization. The more we become networked, the more we have density of neurons, humans acting like a neuron. Think of a city like a brain. The more we become networked, interconnected, communicate, collaborate, this is where civilization emerges. And agents are essentially now starting to join that civilization. As you are made as a superorganism of cells, human civilization is made of millions of humans, billions of humans. And what we call civilization is the full sum of the network of all the humans working together with all their intellect combined and all their communication. What is the next step? Where does all this end up? This ends up in a super civilization that has humans and agents all working together. And every new leap of civilization forward brings with it huge technological advances and huge economic breakthroughs. And so this is what we're really looking at. And once again, SmithOS is designed from the ground up to be a foundation for that economy, for that future.
Amazing. I'm thinking about ants, and I have a question. Individually, you're not really aware of the nuance of their sentience. Rather, it only becomes apparent in big groups when they can do all these things together. Do you think that the group becomes the sentience, or do you think that it's only revealing what is already existing inside the ant, and like how that kind of spreads out to this analogy of agents? Should we be concerned?
Not concerned. It's true for you too. Your cell is intelligent. Every cell in your body is intelligent. It's exceptional. the collection of cells that make up Ryan is exceptional. You as a person is exceptional. Your family unit as a collection of entities is also exceptional. Your country is exceptional. And humanity as a superorganism is also exceptional, right? So adding extra layers to it does not diminish the fact that the lower layers are exceptional in their own way. They're all contributing to the whole. So what we're always going to have a human civilization and a human society, but then we're also going to have a superorganism, a super civilization on top of that, which is humans with AI. And of course, perhaps most likely, a whole mess of transhumanism in the mix too. But that's for another day.
Hopefully we can get there someday. So, man, I love the way you talk. It's so cinematic and it paints the picture so vividly in my brain. I also read that you said, I paint with code and my teams and the internet is my canvas. So you have a very artistic vision to how you work and operate. Kind of explain that. How does this creative process kind of unfurl in your business pursuits?
Well, have you seen Moana? She wanted to cross the ocean, but was shy. Then she discovered the cave of the ancestors, and she figured out her ancestors were doing this all along. I was born in Bruges in Belgium. The Romans conquered all these Nordic tribes because they were master artisans and craftsmen, and they used all their trades and brought it back to impress their wives with all of the gold and like trinkets that they found. You see that very much alive still today. Like the Japanese culture has that too. This artisan tradition. You don't just make sushi; it becomes an art. But same way, Flanders, Belgium, and much of Europe, you don't just do work. Whether you go on, if you go in my town in Bruges and you meet someone that opens a bakery, they're not opening a bakery for just making economic profit. Yes, it's important livelihood, but when they do, they are determined to become the best bakery in town. When somebody, and it's a cultural thing, it's the difference between work and artisanry. Mm-hmm. And artisanry has the word art in it. And so when you think about it, I don't really distinguish between people and code as much when I create, because I can put teams of agents together that work for me, and I can put teams of humans together that work for me, and I can put teams of humans and agents and technology together that work for me. And at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, as a creator, as an artisan, you simply use the tools available to you to make your vision come true. And whether that involves humans or technology, that can be abstracted, right? It's what you paint with. And then the internet is the canvas because it is the thing that connects us all, the way you reach everyone. And I've always been fascinated with how humans and technology intersect, how we interact, and how we augment one another. Clearly, there's a use for calculators in my life. Right? And in some way, they enrich what a human is capable of doing. And so, for example, just all these 2025 is the year so far of AI video models. And my whole life, I've had cartoons in my mind and movies in my mind. And I'm having so much fun creating things now. I'd be honest with you, I'd almost want to quit my job and just go make, I don't know, the next Simpsons or something just with AI. It's so much fun. You can express yourself but this too is painting with technology. And you can then build teams of humans and AI working together. So these are the tools you have, your paintbrush, your paint colors. And then the canvas is the internet that brings it all together, connects it all, shares it, and adds it to the superorganism, which is humanity, and soon humanity plus plus.
Yeah, you know the best artisans, their work was a devotional practice. So if you go look at a mosque or a cathedral or the pyramids, like the Masons are beginning work that their sons won't even finish, as a devotion to their God. Do you feel like you have a devotion practice in the work you do?
100%, 100%. Um, in fact, there are things that are transcendental in our lives. Concepts like love. I love you. Okay. How much? To the moon and back, to the stars. Okay. You cannot put a limit on it. They're transcendental. What about beauty? Plato talked about this a lot. The concept of beauty. Beauty is ephemeral. It is transcendental. And we all recognize it when it occurs to us. And when it occurs to us, it's an encounter with the divine, because the divine is transcendently beautiful and transcendently loving and awe-inspiring. And so I believe that every person that devotes themselves to beauty in their work and love or charity devotes themselves to the transcendental as disciples of that. And they are evangelists of the transcendental because they allow people to feel and experience a slice of that. When you're a movie director and a person sits in the movie theater and experiences your showpiece and you make them cry or feel things, it's beauty, it's magic. And I always ask my team to reflect before they start coding. Again, AI is just Python code. They know how to code. AI does not know how to contemplate beauty. Not yet. It's a very human thing to do. And in a sense, that is because while we are dust, we are also communing on a transcendental plane, on a spiritual level. And that means that humans uniquely are inhabiting two planes at the same time.
Mm.
The transcendental plane where we think about eternity and contemplate beauty and love as something that is, without it, our life would be meaningless. But at the same time, we're very physical and rooted in reality and in material reality, that is. And then everything to me combines itself in a world of symbolism, where we live in a symbolic world. And I think that the West, especially with its intellectualism, has done grave damage to our reality awareness.
Mm.
And in the sense that we've stopped appreciating things as true just because they're materially not true. And the best example I have for that is Red Riding Hood. The Red Riding Hood. I ask people, like, is this true? And the materialists will say, no, this is a children's story meant to convey a moral lesson, but it is not true. And I would say, what about the coyotes at the border who kidnap little girls?
Mm.
And it just, like, if you are an emotional human being, that just went straight to your stomach like a pit, like a brick that just fell in your stomach. You're like, oh my God, I felt that. That was real. And so symbolic truths are sometimes more real than material truths, because it's a way for us to explain how the material and transcendental interact and intersect. And it is no coincidence at all that every human tradition, every human history, every civilization codifies this symbolic truths in stories that we tell by campfires. And there's nothing more primal than that. So yes, long answer, but it's very important to me as I approach my work. I think that it's very important that we don't just create functional things, but we create beautiful things. And I believe that not just our work, but also our behavior, our interactions, and everything else should be a devotional where we think about more than just the material function of things.
Yeah. How does the transcendent feel in your body? Like when something, you identify something as beautiful, or like it hits you like your coyote story. How does it feel in your body? How do you know?
Well, I think it's an encounter with the transcendental. And to me, it goes back to like this idea of communion with one another. If I want to befriend you, chances are that you and I are going to go and share a meal together, and we maybe share share bread or share wine or something, right? We'll share in a common experience, and so we will bond a transcendental connection as friendship. It's hard to measure, but we will bond it over a physical communion and sharing. And so I think of I think that the the human the human essence, the human being is requires us to recognize both. And if we're only doing things for money, we might be we might be economically successful, but we'll be miserable as a human being. Life without love, for example. There is a story that someone told me, and was quite profound. You can go through life and think love does not exist. It's an illusion made by the neurons in our brain for evolutionary purposes so that we can procreate and continue the species. And so the young man just decides love does not exist. Therefore, he doesn't fall in love. He doesn't have children. And one day he's on his deathbed all alone by himself. But he was economically successful. He was a well regarded writer, whatever, right? But he's all alone on his deathbed, economically successful and everything. The other person believed in love and the importance. It was not just a material thing, it was something he recognized as something extra we had, something that was important to nurture. And he met this girl and foolishly, blindly fell in love, head over heel, flaws and all. And they married, had a family, went through difficult times, went to good times. And on his deathbed, he is surrounded with his children and grandchildren, and they hold his hand as he passes on. And you just think about those two lives that are lived, right? Maybe there is only a physical reality and nothing else out there. Maybe there is no transcendental. But if that were the case, that would not be the life worth living. It would still be better to embrace it, because then you would allow yourself to be in awe, and you would allow yourself to fall in love head over heel, and you would allow yourself to experience life to the fullest. And it has been proven in hospitals that when people hold on to hope and they believe that they're going to get better, that they do. And doesn't physics and the quantum physics show that wave functions can collapse when we observe it? And so our interaction with the material or conscious observation impacts, if it can impact the quantum wave function on a physical level, then why couldn't our interaction with the world also have an impact from that level? I know we're going like far in the rabbit hole, but to bring this all home is I believe that the part of you that feels it is the part that is not material, that I cannot put in words. And just like your heart may leap when you see a friend you haven't seen for a long time and you emotionally feel it, there's a physical response to a transcendental experience. And I think we physically feel it in our bodies. It can be in the heart, it can be in the stomach, it can be in your gut. But it's like your body sings. And when I create beautiful things, my body sings. And I think that is the encounter we have to strive for when we create things that are beautiful and lasting. And beautiful things tend to outlive us too. they become part of the human superorganism fabric and get carried on somehow.
Incredible. That was beautiful. I love it. As much as I want to see Smith OS, go to the moon, I really want to see your cartoons, you know.
No, me too. Like, okay.
So, how important is this to your work, which is the side quests, which is like, no, I got to play with these tools and make some movies and do some cartoons. How important is that to kind of your work life?
Well, I need a creative outlet, and I happen to find that in my work primarily. The problems we are solving with agents, it is true. It's Rembrandt level. It is so beautiful. Honestly, it is so beautiful. And when we see these things working and interacting with each other, it is an incredible feeling. But that said, in our company, I have many very talented engineers that I can paint with. And my role is to not just look at the present, but also understand how SmithOS fits in the economic infrastructure of human civilization, in the business infrastructure, and from many angles, see where this world is headed so that we're not building things that other people build already and our work goes to waste. We want to contribute to humanity, not just duplicate what's already been done. And in that role, I have to know what's happening. I have to understand what's happening. So I allow myself time every day to test and play. Every day I play. New models come out and I will test the boundaries. I will not just read about the new AI model X, Y, Z. I will make a project with it and push it to its boundaries. See how far I can push it. Try to understand, like, where are the limits of technology in any given moment? You can ask me, where are the limits? What is possible? And I will say, like, right up to there.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing that progression, like that, you can extrapolate you can understand where things are likely to be headed next. And I spend a lot of time playing with those concepts. And usually that's in my evenings and my weekends. But I don't think I can do my job if I was not plugged in, as it were. And I do play, like with my kids. I will teach them how they can build their own business with vibe coding and SmithOS maybe. Or with the other kid, I might make a cartoon. My little one's obsessed about seals, like the animal seals. And so he wants to make a seal cartoon. And I will use the tools I like. Sit down. It's like my dad sat down with me and played Legos. I sit down with kids and I make an anime seal cartoon with them. And then and they have immense pride as they show it to their friends. Look what I can make. And it makes them believe in themselves and want to do more. And so that's fun to me. That's play. And humans need play. All intelligent creatures play. Elephants play, dolphins play, humans play, dogs play. Every intelligent creature plays. Play is part of how our intellect forms.
I love it. This has been such a fun conversation, Alexander. I really appreciate it. I'll end with kind of one question here. If you had a billboard in Times Square and you could put anything you want on it, what would you put on it?
I think I would want to make people laugh. Probably, I would think of something like really funny. Yeah, I don't know if my co-founder will like if I tell this, but we have our weekly celebration meeting, and he was wearing jeans. So I took a screenshot and like cut his picture out and put the Sweeney's ad of the jeans, and like I put his face on top of her face and said, "I have great agents." I mean, like the whole company was smiling. And when I was 6 years old, the teacher asked, the kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a clown.
Yeah.
And, and she said, well, that's a hard life. Why would you want to be a clown? And I said, I want to make people smile.
Yeah.
And I still think that's the greatest gift you can give people. It's like, whether it's through your work or your words or how you have impacted people, but like, we're human, right? Let people feel things, good things. Don't make them cry in a bad way.
I love that, and it rings so true to me too, novelty and play and humor. These are all things that are exceptionally important to me. And and I only know that because when I find the opposite, I'm so repelled. It's like, I just want to like go to joy and like see how I can interweave joy into my days in any ways I can. At work especially as well.
Yeah.
Alexander, this has been fantastic. Where can people connect with you online?
I'm on LinkedIn. I have an X account. And then, SmithOS, follow the work. Build with Smith. Go to GitHub and give us a star if you like what we're doing. We can really use the support. Spread the word. Tell other people about SmithOS. Believe it or not, like to this day, we have bootstrapped everything. And it's been hard work because we really, really believe in what we're doing. It is, and we open source. It is a gift to humanity. It's meant to be a gift to humanity. We want the Internet of Agents to be open for all people. And the driving philosophy behind what we're doing, we really mean to do good. And so we invite people to just share in that mission and belief. The Internet of Agents is going to happen either to you or with you. I want it to be with you. Be part of that. Don't be left behind.
Absolutely. And everyone can check that out in the show notes. We'll definitely link to it. I'm super excited to try this. I've been looking for a product like this for some time. So I'm so excited to check out the product. Alexander, I feel like we could talk forever on a bunch of different things. So I'd love to have you back sometime. Maybe we'll get into the economics of the company. I really want to hear about that. But really, the philosophic tint is also really fun for me. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by MoBurst, the AI-first growth engine trusted by iconic startups like Calm, Robinhood, Reddit, Uber, and Google. MoBurst is a digital full-service mobile-first marketing agency that helps companies to scale and become category leaders. Whether you're finding product market fit or ready to accelerate growth, MoBurst delivers creative, data-driven solutions that help with scale and efficiency and impact. At MoBurst, we're not just guessing what works, we're predicting it. As an AI-first agency, MoBurst uses cutting-edge tools to analyze user behavior, adapt creative in real time, and uncover hidden growth opportunities. The result, marketing that's faster, smarter, and built to convert. From early-stage startups to global brands, we've helped hundreds of companies overcome complex challenges, unlock new audiences, and optimize every metric that matters. At MoBurst, we believe that creative thinking, advanced technology, and data are the core drivers of success at scale. If you're serious about scaling your business with precision and purpose, it's time to talk to MoBurst. Visit moburst.com and let's build something category-defining together.